Good day to you, and welcome back to the Higher Grounds podcast. We're very grateful that you had come by and meet with us today. And we have a camera-shy gentleman to my right, new to the table, Mr. Litton Killin. How you doing there, buddy?
Doing well. Thank you for having me.
What have you been doing?
Just sit around. No.
Sitting around doing nothing, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's good. We had Brother Litton at the church today. We're recording this on a Sunday afternoon. We've been recording several podcasts recently on our Sunday afternoons after church. And Brother Litton was at the Galilee Baptist Church today and presenting the work that God's called him to. He's fixing to go to the beautiful South Pacific islands of Micronesia. No, you did not know there was such a thing, but there really is. I checked it out on Google. There is a place called Micronesia.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at some pictures from Micronesia, and they're in their festivals. They're quite festive in their festivals over there. Yeah. Is that why you're going?
No.
You're not going for the festivals?
No, sir. No.
Well, tell us about Micronesia, and here's why. You are from Micronesia, came to the U.S., wound up from a very beautiful part of the South Pacific to West Virginia,
Right. Yes, sir.
and now you've seen the light and you're going home.
Yes, sir.
Okay, tell me the story.
So I was adopted at a young age. American woman was praying to have a kid, and they couldn't have one. Her and her husband, he was Christian, and they met, and they got married, and they were praying, and God led a woman into her life at a grocery store, and that lady was my biological mother.
Well,
Adopted me, and I was the answer to prayer. I always tell my siblings that was the answer to prayer.
now was your mother and dad living in Micronesia at the time?
Yes, sir. She was working Peace Corps at the time over there.
Okay.
So she's a native to West Virginia, and so that's the whole reason why Micronesian ended up in West Virginia.
I see.
So,
Had a West Virginia mama.
yes, sir.
Okay. And you grew up pretty much, most of your life at Mountain State Baptist Church. We've had your pastor on the podcast before, Pastor Mark Sechrist.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And so he was my pastor from when I was about 9 years old all the way until I went to college. And
Yes.
so,
And you went to Crown
Yes, sir.
College, and it's where you met your wife, Miss Kailee.
Miss Kailee.
And I understand that she chased you until you caught her.
yeah, yes, sir.
That's kind of how it worked out. That's what I heard.
No. Well, I met her my sophomore year, her freshman year.
Yeah.
And we did ministry together, and I said, "This is the one," and she blocked me. And so I was like,
She blocked like with like football, like a tackle.
I felt
block.
like it.
It felt like it.
right at the heart. And
So she blocked your number
yeah, blocked my number.
because you were a stalker.
Yeah, I guess that was too much. I didn't know. That was the first time I ever actually was like, I think she's the one.
Yeah.
And then,
Had you ever been interested in anybody else before?
no, sir.
So you didn't know how to really approach this thing.
I had
so,
no idea.
So you got blocked.
Yeah, I got blocked too much all at once. I was like, I thought you were supposed to be like, I think you're the one. And she's like, okay.
Oh, so was that one of the first things that you said to her? I think we're going to get married.
Yeah.
No, you needed lessons.
Yeah.
I could have give you some lessons, but we didn't know each other at the time.
No, sir. It would have helped out a lot. But,
Yeah.
but no, we ended up getting her married, engaged and started dating and married at the end of her senior year and been married for the past 4 years.
Isn't that great?
Yes, sir.
Amen.
It all worked out. And I always remind her I was right. You were the one.
So you remind her of that.
Yes, sir.
So you were not only the answer to prayer for your mother, which is a big deal,
Yes, sir.
but you were, I guess you were the answer to her prayer, because I'm sure she was praying, Lord, send me somebody.
Exactly.
And the Lord said you weren't very specific, so I just send you somebody,
Yes, sir.
and there you are.
Yep. And that's how and that's why we're the Killins now.
Yeah.
More than one now.
Yeah. 2 killings.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
So,
But explain to me the killing name.
okay, so that is my
Killin.
Yeah, no G. We're not killing anybody. We're just killing.
You're not killing anybody.
Yeah, no.
But we're killers.
Yeah, exactly. So that is my my dad's first name is
Yeah.
Killin, Killin, Simon Killin, and my name.
Killin, Simon Killin.
Yes, sir. And my full name is Litton Killin. And everyone's like, why is your middle name Killin? And I always say it's because it's my dad's first name. I said, why is your dad's first name that way? I said,
who knows?
Ask for that. Just no one knows.
What about that?
So
it reads Killin on your license, which means?
I have a license to kill. Exactly. But it's everyone always thinks that's unique because that's how the culture over there, the child will take the dad's first name as their middle name.
Well, I'll be.
So
Wow.
I always have a Killin alongside with me. So.
It's all right. Now, currently, for the last 4 years, you've been working for another pastor that we've had on the podcast, who is the constructor of this fine-looking table that we're sitting behind, Pastor Mark Biddy.
Yes, sir.
How long have you worked for Mark?
So I've been working for Mark for the past 4 years.
Right.
And serving along him and helping Harvest Baptist Church with ministry and being his assistant and being hands-in for the last 4 years. Pretty much that's mine and Kaylee's home church. Ever since we've been married, we went straight to that church and was helping them with the bus ministry and Sunday school teaching and just all hands-on board. So,
That is great.
yes, sir.
That is great. And that's a great church, Harvest Baptist Church, and it's in a great area of the country. Yeah. Dawsonville, just beautiful through the mountains of North Georgia.
Yes, sir.
And I really enjoy going down, and I get to come down and preach there quite frequently, once or twice a year, and just love being around the Biddy family. And I call them the itty bitties. They're a blessing. Yes, so, when did God begin to deal with you about the islands of Micronesia? And when I say islands, explain the topography and geography of the islands.
Okay, so originally the islands are four countries, or originally there were 7 of them: Ponape, Kosrae, Chuuk, Yap, and then you have the Solomon Islands. That was a part of it. Then you had Samoa was a part of it. Then you had the Marshall Islands. They were all in that collective. But
and now it's 4.
Yeah, just 4 main islands.
It was 7.
Yeah,
and now it's 4.
Yes,
okay, and I think World War II had something to do with the splitting up of the islands
during all that. And then that's the reason why we have the free accessibility of coming to America and not having to have extra paperwork. We only have an I-94 with a passport, and we can freely come to the country, work jobs, and whatever we need, we get with a Social Security number and all that whenever we come to the States.
I see.
Be able to work jobs and go back and forth if we have to.
I see.
And so,
but when you say go back and forth, that's not an easy thing to do.
No.
You say go back and forth between the islands. You know, a lot of people think in relationship to the Caribbean, but we're talking about 40 plus hours to get to where you're at. Yeah.
It's not just a leap across the lake. It's a mini lake or a big lake.
It's big pond.
Yeah, big pond. Definitely. About 46 hours, like you said, and tickets are not cheap.
Like up to $4,000 a piece, some of them.
Yeah, just for a round trip ticket, and that's just for 2 weeks.
Okay, so we've understood that you've got 4 main islands, but there are many more smaller islands.
Over 2,000 small.
Over 2,000 islands, and a lot of those, even those smaller islands, you said were inhabited sometimes by 20 or 30 people. Not many people at all
people
living there. Can you imagine that, living on an island in the South Pacific with 10 or 15 or 20 or 30 people that are, I'd say, mostly family? So you're going there because there are a couple of churches in the area, and they are without a pastor. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir. On the island of Kosrae, they have 2 independent fundamental Baptist churches, but neither one of them have a pastor at this time.
How old are the churches?
Tafensac is the youngest church. It's been there about 12 years.
Okay.
And the pastor before it was a missionary, and he was there, started the church, started the work there, and they just stepped off the field because of health reasons.
I see.
And the other church has been there a little bit longer. I don't know exactly how long it's been there. But
15, 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so right now the churches are having services, but Tafensac Baptist Church is only having 1 service a week.
So how many miles apart are the churches?
So if I'm right, Tafensac Baptist Church is on the northern part of the island, and the other one's in the central part.
Okay.
So mile-wise, I'm not exactly sure.
So the island's like, I think Miss Kailee said it was like 43 square miles, the island that you'll be on. So there are several miles. Will you be working in both churches?
Lord willing, hopefully, when we get there, we'll be able to help the church at Tavensack and that church too.
Good.
So that's our plan.
Good.
We want to help as many as we can because of no leadership, and it's just training the natives there, and hopefully get them on a solid rock where they'll be able to just.
Now, what is the religious the religious climate in Micronesia like? I mean, I think they have a state church, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the state church would be the Congregationalism. That's a big thing. And what I've learned through talking to to a couple missionaries, and just looking and talking to my dad, since he was a native from there, that's become more traditional, that they just go to that church.
Right.
Because that's
the way Catholicism would be like in parts of Mexico or in South America.
Yes, sir. And so that's a big thing. They've relied upon that. And that's what they've been told by ancestors before, because of how deeply rooted they are in traditionalism. And my dad, till this day, is still kind of like that. And so there's things that he doesn't want to change because he's so used to a certain way of doing it.
So how old was your dad when he left Micronesia?
So when he left the first time, he went to college in the States. And he went to States and to Texas was his first time for a couple years. And that's where he had a dog during that time.
Tell that story. Yeah, so that's a good story.
So my dad had a dog when he graduated high school, and left it with his uncle to take care of, and was headed to college. And he was there for 2 years, and he was coming back. They threw him a big feast of festivities, and they slaughtered pigs and those small chickens and stuff like that, whatever they could, just to have a feast for him, because he was coming back. And it's only been 2 years, and he was coming back, and he was sitting there around on the ground with his family, and he was asking about his dog. And my dad asked my uncle. He said, "Where's my dog?" And my uncle says, "You're eating it." And so that's the story about my dad's dog going.
Well, it's not a bad thing. I mean, you've had your dog alongside you for a long. Now you have him in you. Yeah. I think it's a much closer relationship.
Yeah, very close.
Yeah.
No, it didn't last long though.
So how did your dad feel about that?
I think he was pretty tore up about it.
Was it how it tore him up? So was that how it was cooked?
Yeah, probably. That's what I'd say.
Oh, mercy. Well, I've heard that they still do consume canines and felines in that part of the world.
Yes, sir.
And I've heard they're good.
Yeah, especially Costa, since it's technically a borderline, a third world country of the 4 islands.
Yeah.
And so it's one of the poorest sovereigns out of the 4.
So what's the main source of income or industry there?
Fishing.
So fishing. So it's commercial fishing.
So they'd either fish or they would sell fish themselves to the local market and stuff that way to make an income.
I see.
And so
I see.
Fishing or doing crafts and stuff that way, like literally weaving probably baskets and stuff like that, and selling crafts to the other islands. So
is the housing? What would the housing be like? Is it hut-like, or is it homes or block houses, or
depending on so when we were looking at some property, my dad's property over there, it took my cousin Zero to build his house. It's 2 bedrooms and it has a bathroom. $8,000. So it's they're able to build a sustainable house, but it's out of cheap material and stuff like that.
I see. So your dad owns property.
Yes, sir.
Still in Micronesia. Yes, and it adjoins the church, I think you said.
Yeah, it's not that far from where the main church is right there. So if the church ever have to grow, my dad has given me the blessing to be able to build on our property.
That's great.
Stuff like that. So we got either have property down there or on top of the mountain. So
that is great.
If the church ever needed to move, or if we would continue growing in church and have another church closer to another village, that way we'll be able to have property
That is awesome. So with you, what is your like your plan for once you get there? I mean, what is your intention? I know that you're going to be working with a church that has already been established, but how do you plan to go forward with the work God's called you to do once you get there?
So the plan is for me and Kailee that we've been praying about is to local and build relationships with the locals there.
Yeah.
And continue the growth of the church and helping them with that. But there's missionaries that can help from Ponape, the main island.
Yeah.
And we can help serve underneath them to get more familiar with the culture of the area too. We don't want to go there and try to Americanize everything.
Right.
When I go there, they're going to be like, man, you've become American. You've
Right.
become a Micronesian citizen. And so learn their lifestyles, learn what...
Is that offensive to them?
No, because most of the Micronesians that leave want to become American. That's a dream that they have. They want to come here to America, be successful, and stuff like that. And so whenever we go back, I don't want to be trying to impose them an American idea whenever it's
right.
in the heart of their culture.
Right.
But it's very unique. They're over there. Women don't really talk as much among each other. And so they don't really talk. Like Kailee, my wife, my mom was talking to her and said, you're going to have a hard time because the women won't talk to you because they know English, but they don't know English well.
I see.
Women do. And so men like to use speaking English as a pride thing. That, hey, I know this word. I can talk like this. As the women are kind of scared because they don't want to mess up the English words. And so that kind of barrier.
So the women don't talk much?
No, sir.
Do you need any help over there?
I mean, if you want to come on our mission trip, we're planning on. I'd love to have you. And so, but no, it's their culture's respected with the elders and stuff like that. So
I see.
It's protected, and they want to keep, I guess, as much traditional.
Right.
That's a problem too because of how the congregational church has been. That like everything has to go through that church. And so people think they have to do it the old way, and they don't like change. So.
I see. So how receptive are they to the gospel?
So
because I know your dad was saved there, right?
Yes, okay. Yeah. So he was saved on Ponape whenever he left all that, and when him and my mom got married on Ponape at Calvary Baptist Church there, and the way my dad explains it is if once you get away from all that and you can see the truth. It's easier to see the truth once you get away from that. Because when you're around people that's with the traditionalism and all, and you're used to...
They don't know there's anything different.
Exactly. And so once they go out of that flow and they realize I've been living under a lie and my whole life... Well, not saying their whole life's a lie, but saying there's more truth out there than I realize. And so it's an eye-opening experience for them. And so if they can step away from it... But they've been... So much culture, I keep saying it, but tradition, just repetitively, beaten into their bloodline of they have to do this, have to go to church to find a wife, have to go to church to get married, and have to go to church in order to leave the island and stuff like that. Just
so it's a church state. Yeah, so it would be very much like the Church of England was in its inception in England. Right. I see. So the population of the island that you're going to is approximately
a little under 7,000 people.
A little under so we're talking about a very small island.
Yes, sir.
Now, are there any other churches on the island other than Congregational Church? And the couple of the Baptist churches that are there, are there any other churches on the island?
You have two Mormon churches there.
Mormon?
Yes.
Okay.
And then you have, I believe, another Seventh-day Adventist church over there.
Okay, so there are no other Protestant denominational churches like Presbyterian or Methodist or...
I believe that there was one Catholic church that they have over there, but as I believe that's all we know of right now.
I got you. So it's wide open.
Yes, sir.
Now, do you have family that's still there?
Yes. So for my dad's side of the family, about 3 of his brothers and sisters are over there, and he has lots of cousins.
I see.
Over there.
Now, are any of them saved?
Not that I know of.
Okay. All right.
Zero, the one that's on the property, went to that church, or went to one of the Baptist churches over there. My dad couldn't remember which one, but he's been going to that church pretty frequently.
I see. And his name is what?
Zero.
Zero.
Yes, sir.
Like the number.
Yeah.
What about that?
Yeah.
Now, did he take his dad's last name?
I'm not for sure. I just know him as Cousin Zero.
Cousin Zero.
Yes, sir.
There you go. Are there any other unique names that you've learned over there?
Other than my name. So the Killins, there's two ways of spelling it on the island. There's Killin and Killian, and it's I-A-N, and that's another family. So there's a lot, like whenever I mentioned my name, I said, are you K-I-L-I-N or I-A-N? And so they confused me. But
I see.
Yeah. But last time I checked, my dad told me, I said, I'm the last living Killin. So if I have a son, then the generation will end off with me. So.
Oh, you have a heavy duty responsibility on your shoulders there. Yeah, we got to keep the Killins going.
Yes, sir.
So, Micronesia, was it originally? I know with a lot of islands, folks were brought to the islands and made to populate the islands from other countries. These folks are native to the South Pacific Islands for generations and generations and generations. So what is their mindset like in regard to work, in regard to life, in regard to religion? What is, because I asked a question to your wife and to yourself as well at lunch today about, is it a laid back kind of culture? So, I mean, what is their thought processes on life?
So the only person that I have a personal experience with would be my dad, because he's the one who lived there the longest and came to the States. And my dad's always been a hard worker.
Yeah. Your dad's in his 60s.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And he's still working a job full time. He's traveling back and forth an hour and a half to work every day. And just, and my mom tells me, your dad is just like every other Christian man. Once they set a goal in their mind to be a hard worker, they'll be a hard worker. And my dad, throughout my whole life, didn't matter if it was snowing, didn't matter if we were flooded on our road, would be out providing for us. Just had that hard-working mentality.
Yeah.
And if he was sick, he'd still be working. And he'd go out and work.
Right.
I've never seen my dad ever call out work because he was sick or his stomach hurted or anything like that. But have a perspective on what I guess a Micronesian lifestyle would be, I would be a hard worker.
Really?
Yeah. All the way up, even into his 60s. I mean, he still works hard. He plays tennis as much as he can.
Yeah.
Avid tennis player. And he loves to be outside. It's just...
and that was the way in the islands as well, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And so my dad even has scars on his legs. I mean, he said he was in his 20s. He was climbing a tree and cutting a tree down that fell on a power line, and chainsaw fell off of his hand and cut the inside of his femur, and he's got a big gash across his femur. And I asked him, I said, did it hurt? And he said, yeah, it hurt. I said, what'd you do after that? I said, continue working. And so their mindset of hard working puts me to shame, my generation to shame.
Yeah.
But that's, I mean, you want to live, you want to provide, you put the effort in, you want to work. For the religious part of it, I've never seen my dad miss a church service. He's always been to church faithfully.
So they're committed people. Once they get in, they're committed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's just their lifestyle, and they don't, once they're committed and they know that it's right, they don't like change.
Yes.
My dad, I tell my dad, you could do this a certain way. He doesn't like it. And that's where me and my dad butt heads. And my mom said, you both act alike. And I was like, oh, man. But, I mean, I can see where she says that, because once I stick to it, I don't want to give up. I want to continue down that road. And that's how my dad has been throughout all my life. He's been faithfully at it. He reads his Bible. He sings for the Lord. He just keeps on going on. Even at his age, even whenever the doctor told him to stop drinking coffee and stop eating rice because of his heart, he still kept at it. He didn't want it to change. And that's his lifestyle. And so he said, I'll still eat a bowl of rice today. It doesn't matter. And so,
Well, he's liable to last a long time.
yes, sir.
So if we were going to have folks from our podcast family to get in touch with you, how's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Right now we have an email. It's killins to fsm@gmail.com. And an email or a text message is the best way. We don't have a website. We're not that fancy yet. Only,
Well, what number can they text you at?
They can call me, text me at 304-618-7032. That's an area code from West Virginia, so for all those West Virginia people.
And the email address again?
It's Killins, so
Killins.
No, I-N.
Killins.
TOFSM@gmail.com. And so
2FSM
yes, sir.
at gmail.com. Okay. Well, we would love to have some of our folks get a hold of you and talk to you about maybe coming by their church and seeing them.
Yes, sir.
When do you think that? And I know you're just now getting started with raising your support to go. What do you, because of where you're going, because of the cost of living, because of the culture that you're in, how much do you have to raise to go?
So for the mission trip that we're taking right now, we're trying to raise it's $3,000 a ticket.
Okay,
that's what we're looking at sometime in June or July.
Okay,
and my dad is supposed to be going with us, so I have my own personal tour guide.
Yeah,
a local.
Yeah.
So
it's $3,000 a ticket,
yes, sir.
And to raise, how much monthly support are you going to need?
Right there, I do not know yet.
I understand. So you're going. One of the parts of this trip is to figure out costs of living, and construction and what you need to raise to help support the church and all that. Okay, I understand.
But hopefully, when we get that, whenever we get this money that we need for the trip over there, we can get all the money, logistics, and all that figured out.
Good.
And then be able to send out, because we're doing a quarterly prayer letter.
Yeah.
And then send it out and see where we're standing.
Well, amen.
How that goes.
Amen. Amen. Well, I wish you and Miss Kailee the best and pray that God uses you guys in a great way for the glory of God.
Yes, sir.
And I know that He will.
Yes, sir.
I really do. Hey, thank you for coming by and being on the podcast today.
Happy to be here.
And hey, y'all look him up. You can't miss him. Look at him. He's got an unforgettable face, and he's really suave, debonair. Took a woman that blocked him and turned her heart around.
Amen.
And how he did that, I'll never know. I think he blackmailed her. I think that's what it was. All right, from us to you, thank you for tuning in. And you keep pressing on the upward way. We'll see you next week.